Hi, it's Ramsey Dewey with the JX Fight Club in Shanghai, China, and I'm here today to talk about headgear. So, the other day, I got a criticism on one of the videos I posted of some of my students, some of my beginner students doing some light contact sparring, boxing, because they weren't wearing headgear. And this fellow insisted that the headgear was important to keep them safe. And I'm going to tell you that's absolutely false. Headgear, no matter how well designed it is, whether it's top of the line Twins or Fairtex stuff or this super cheap squishy Taekwondo headgear, it all serves the exact same purpose, which is superficial protection. It'll protect your skin from abrasions and cuts. It will protect you basically from black eyes. It protects the surface of your face and head. So after sparring, you won't be quite as marked up as you would be otherwise. What it does not protect is your brain. Okay? Here's the headgear. Just imagine there's a skull, a human skull inside of that with a brain inside. The punch comes, hits the dude. It's going to move him around. It's going to jostle the brain. All that blunt force trauma goes inside the head. Okay, it is not absorbed by this foam. All this foam does is protects the outside of your head, not the inside. Okay? Now, if you don't believe that, let's talk about science for a little bit. Come on to the back and let me show you my Olympic lifting floor one more time. I built this. Some of my students helped me out with it a while back. Ta-da! Okay, so basically it's a piece of wood in between some rubber pieces, and those are screwed into a platform made out of plywood on the bottom, which is about 10 square meters total. Now, why does that matter? Well, so we don't destroy the concrete floor below it when we drop weights from overhead. If we're doing Olympic lifting, clean and jerk, snatch, lift those weights up overhead, drop them, they're going to hit the floor. Where does that weight go? Now, if this platform was not there, and we dropped a weight on it, well, the edge of that weight, here, let's take a look at how big those edges are. Okay, here's the bumper plates, right? Edges are a couple of inches. Okay, just a couple of inches, right? So a surface area about, that big, a couple of square inches, is what's going to be landing on the floor. And say I'm lifting 100 kilos overhead and I drop that. Okay, so that 100 kilos drops down, hits the concrete floor. We're assuming we're lifting with no Olympic lifting platform. And that 100 kilos is accelerated by 9.8 meters per second and hits the ground. Boom! We've got this immensely powerful impact in an area that big. Okay? So the floor is going to get damaged under those circumstances. But we build this big platform, right? And we drop the weight. The weight lands on the platform. And that shock, instead of damaging an area this big, is spread out throughout the whole entire floor. And so the concrete underneath is taking, instead of 100 kilos of force multiplied by 9.8 meters per second from however far it falls down, is taking, a kilogram or two of impact force. Because it's all spread out. Now, you might think, how does that apply to this? Well, guess what? This is not spread out into 12 square meters. This is the same size as your head. Okay? And so if I put this on, the frontal bone is going to be a little reinforced there. Okay? But in spite of the fact that I won't get cut up here, or maybe on my precious little chin, it's not going to get a scrape on it. It's not going to stop the force of the punches. It won't. It can't. All that force has to go somewhere, and it goes inside of your brain. Okay? So what's this good for? What are these things good for? And, well, let's talk about what they're bad for, first of all. Let's do a puppet show. Hi, I'm a piece of headgear. When people put me on, they think they can go really, really hard, because they think headgear makes them indestructible. Yeah, me too. When they put me on, they think they can swing for the fences instead of, using control like they should when they spar. Huh. And then, yeah, everybody puts me on, they end up having, concussions and blunt force trauma to the brain and brain damage. Those idiots should realize that we just stop cuts and abrasions and not brain damage. Yeah. Okay. The end. So what's it good for? All right. Now, you'll notice that they don't use headgear in Olympic boxing anymore. Why? Because science has finally caught up with the times, and they realized that it's actually a liability. You'll notice this is bigger than my head. It makes my head a bigger target, right? I put this on, and my head quite literally doubles in size, right? So now punches I could have slipped by an inch, they're going to catch me. It's going to catch me. And all that force, it has to go somewhere. So when do I use this? This is my personal headgear. I do use it sometimes, but not for boxing, right? Because if you're sparring hard enough to cause brain damage, that's stupid. That's just dumb. And I already know how to fight, man. Yeah, I don't need to get into fights in the gym. I spar all the time, but we use control. Okay? Elbows, on the other hand. These things are sharp. Check that elbow out. It's pointy. It's like a little blade, a little hook. Right? That's solid bone. Right? You hit somebody in the head with that, that's bone-on-bone contact with a little layer of skin in between. That, even light, will open up cuts easily. See that little scar right there? That's not from an elbow, that's from an accidental headbutt, but it's the same principle. Bone on bone with a thin layer of skin in between. And that is what headgear comes in handy for. So if you want to practice elbows, right, if you're doing Muay Thai sparring or MMA sparring, and you want to practice the elbows, you still have to use control and light contact. So that's a ton of power, man. You can... One of my first videos I put up here on YouTube was me smashing through a stack of concrete blocks, actual construction-grade concrete blocks with my elbows. And that was before I really knew how to fight. That's when I was a traditional martial artist. Now, if I could do that back then, imagine what I can do now. So use control. So when I spar with elbows, wear the headgear. If you have elbow pads, you can wear those, but you still got to go light. And instead of aiming, don't aim for the face with the elbow, because you're going to gouge somebody's eye out, right? You're going to smash the nose. We don't want to do that to our sparring partners. Don't break your sparring partners. Aim for the padding itself. And again, use light contact, right? So that's the main reason that I have a set of headgear, is so that I can practice elbows in sparring. Okay? And even then, if you're going to practice elbows, only do it with somebody that you trust explicitly. And use control. Because this, like I said, protects you from superficial damage only. Right, all that other force that goes inside your brain and rocks it back and forth and knocks it back and forth against the walls of your skull. It's not good for you. I see it so many times. A couple of fighters or a couple of guys in the gym who want to be fighters, they put on the headgear and they think it's free license to hit as hard as they want to. And it's not. I say this one more time. It'll save you from little cuts and abrasions and black eyes. It will not spare your brain any damage. Headgear, when used irresponsibly, is more of a liability than anything. So if you don't know how to use it, if you don't know what it's for, don't even put it on. All right, thanks for watching. Train safe. Get out there and train, guys.